What is up, alien army? I am Oculus, the alien next door, purveyor of esoteric lore. And today's esoteric chit chat, we're going to be doing something slightly different. This is going to be a podcast style broadcast. So if you're into that, then let's get on to today's topic, which is going to be the North Node. Astrologically speaking, the North Node is very important in carving out one's pathway here now on the physical plane, okay? And we're going to get a little bit into that. Right now, I'm going to explain what the North Node is, why it's important, and I'm also going to be getting into the South Node because you cannot have one without the other. So what is the North Node? Now, as I said, we're not going to speak of the North Node unless we are also speaking about the South Node. So the two function hand in hand, okay? And the nodes, just a little scientific background on them here. The nodes are always going to be viewed together, okay? So as I said, you can't have one without the other. And they're going to be viewed together with their opposite sign on the zodiac wheel. So for example, if your North Node is Aries, your South Node will be Libra. Okay, and it can also go if your North Node is Libra, your South Node will be Aries. Okay, so whatever sign that you have on your North Node, the opposite zodiac sign is going to be your South Node. Now, the nodes are associated with the moon. Okay, they're called the lunar North and South nodes, right? The nodes of the moon. And I'm not a science person, but if you want to get a picture in your mind of the moon's path as he orbits Earth, the nodal axes are pinpoint location on the circle of to which the moon rotates the Earth. Okay, so if you picture that circle that's circling the Earth, much like Earth circulates around the sun, okay, the moon circulates around the Earth, and he's going to form a circle, and on that circle we are going to pinpoint the exact locations of the North and South Node. All right, so for those of you that want a kind of a visual description, I tried my best. And they are called ascending and descending nodes. Okay, so when one is rising, the other is descending, right? So it's similar to the ascendant and the descendant of the natal chart, which is another opposite sign parallel. Okay, so the moon also has an ascendant and descendant, right? If you want to get into it, and these are the lunar nodes. Okay, the North Node is ascending, it's rising on the horizon, and the South Node is descending, it's descending on the horizon. Okay, so the North Node is going to be rising in a sense of these are the qualities and traits that you wish to embody here along your journey in this lifetime that we are consciously aware of. Okay, so you chose to embrace these traits, and you chose to kind of release the negative traits of your descending node, which is the South Node. Okay, now the moon's lunar nodes, kind of redundant, moon and lunar, but you know, we'll go with it. The moon's nodes represent important karmic lessons, okay? And I use the term karmic in air quotes because that means something different to everyone. They are representative of the important karmic lessons which one intended to learn the meaning of here in this lifetime now. They go hand in hand, the north node and the south node, though the north node tends to gain more focus on and is more popular, as this is what is alien and unfamiliar to us. We chose to embrace these traits here in this lifetime, and because it almost seems unreachable that we actually would attain these traits in this lifetime, and that's what we're essentially striving for emotionally. Because remember, the moon deals with emotions. This is what gains the most popularity because it's something that is unusual and it's not well known to us, whereas we're not really seeking after something that we know and that we're familiar with, okay, aka south node traits, which we are familiar with from our most previous lifetime, okay. So since that is familiar to us, we already kind of behave in that way, kind of like autopilot mode, okay? So think of the south node as your autopilot revert back to mode. And because the moon deals with emotions, this is going to be your emotional realm, right? So the traits of your south node will be familiar to you. The north node traits will be unfamiliar to you. The house placement, because the nodes stay in each sign for approximately 18 months, so a lot of you born around the same time, that year and a half where the node was in that particular sign, you're all going to have that, but that sign's qualities will express themselves differently depending on the house placement of it. They will also differ depending on any celestial bodies that are in aspect to the north node, okay? It's always going to be different for everyone, so it's very important to have the birth chart time and location details, because you are not going to know what your north node house placement is unless you have the exact birth time and the location of your birth. So the lunar nodes are more often than not going to appear in retrograde, okay? And this is because for the most part the signs are traveling in a backwards motion through the zodiac wheel, okay? So if we wanted to use the example of Cancer and then the sign that follows it is Leo, okay? It's a sign after it on the zodiac wheel. The nodes are moving in the opposite direction. So for the nodes, the sign of Leo will come first and then Cancer will be following it, okay? So that's a very important thing to notate here. So the north node, once you figure out what your sign is, you might not even identify with it. You might not even resonate with it at all, simply for the fact that it is going to appear alien to you, but that is essentially what you chose to, what your soul chose to embrace coming into this body, okay? Your soul chose to embody those traits in the house in which the north node is placed, okay? So the house placement is going to play out differently for everyone, all right? And again, planets aspecting the north node are going to affect your north node as well. So it's individual to everyone. Don't think because a sign is consistent for 18 months or whatever that you're going to have the same quote-unquote karmic deck as your neighbor, okay? It's always going to be tailored to the individual. And for the south node, this rings true as well, because remember, the two of them go hand in hand. So odds are, if you take a look at where your south node is placed, any planets, celestial bodies, or whatever aspecting that, whatever house that your south node is in, you are likely going to identify heavily with that area, okay? With that house placement, whatever sign that is, and the sign of your south node, And this might be something that, let's say your sun sign, your moon, your ascendant, all of that is totally different. Your chart is totally entirely different than your south node house sign and placement. You are likely going to feel a familiarity with it regardless, okay? So you might have absolutely no fire signs in your chart, okay, but yet people call you fiery and passionate and exuberant, right? And this is just an example. And then you look at your south node and your south node is in Sagittarius, okay? That's just an example. So you'd be like, wait a second, you know, I do have that fire, but you're just kind of remembering like the lingering energy that you had in your most past life, so it's familiar for you to be fiery because that's what you knew essentially in your most recent past life. All right, so that's just one example. This can go for all signs, all elements, or all houses. I just wanted to throw that out there for anyone who wanted to hear that. Now what we're going to do is get a little bit into the signs of the North Node. Okay, so keep in mind what I told you about the signs. They are always going to appear in opposite pairs. The North Node and the South Node will always be in opposite zodiac signs. Okay, so I'm going to read for the North Node, and the information that is conveyed to me is that you are to embrace the positive traits of the sign of your North Node, and you are to disintegrate the negative traits of the sign of your South Node so that your soul can be fully rectified, okay? Because you're integrating the two polarities. You're releasing the negative from your past life and you're embracing the positive of the life that you are aware of now. Hence the two opposite signs, okay? Opposite signs are the same thing, just different in degree. They're two sides of the same pole, if you want to kind of get a visual of that, okay? So keep this in mind that we're going to be discussing North Node signs right now, and you are to embrace the positive qualities of these signs, all right? So now that we discussed a little bit what the nodes mean, I'm going to get into what each of the North Nodes mean. So to keep in mind, you also might want to check out what your South Node is, but I'm going to focus more on the North Node here simply for the fact that these are qualities that we are trying to embrace in this current lifetime. So I find this transmission might be a little more valuable in that sense, but I can always make a video on the South Node if, you know, it's requested or something like that. But for now, the North Nodes, okay? Sign by sign, we're going to get into them. Now, the North Node in Aries, you came into this realm of experience and existence wanting to solidify the importance of concentration on yourself, the need to experience a sense of identity and independence, self-awareness, fairness in self-assertion, and the counterbalance of arrogance and having to have everything your way all the time, okay? So these are traits that might resonate with you, okay? And because your South Node was in Libra, coming here, you are very familiar with the qualities of Libra. However, the qualities of Aries you are not so familiar with. Now, every sign has quote-unquote positive and quote-unquote negative attributes to them. But since this is our higher purpose, we're going to be concentrating on our soul wanting to learn the positive qualities of each sign. So the positive qualities of Aries that you can embrace are the ones that I just mentioned. You can learn to stand up for yourself and be more independent and not always having to have someone with you or seeking out the approval of others, okay? You're meant to stand on your own 2 feet. You're meant to do things on your own, set out as a pioneer in whatever field that you see fit. You're here to not take orders from anyone. You're here to carve your own path and be that adventurer that you always knew was within you, right? You're here to establish yourself in the material realm by doing what you want, as you please, when you want. You're here to take control and to motivate others, okay? With Aries on the North Node, those characteristics might be laying dormant within you, as with all of the other nodes, but it's very important that you take a look at the positive qualities of Aries and try to incorporate them into your life, utilizing this energy in the area of the house placement that your North Node of Aries is in. Now moving along to Taurus on the North Node. If you have Taurus on the North Node, then you have Scorpio on your South Node. And Taurus North Node, their soul chose to incarnate in this lifetime for the importance of establishing persistence, boundaries, self-worth, patience, forgiveness, okay? This is someone who has to kind of set their own rules and abide by their own rules in order to get things done, okay? This is someone who is also prone to self-sabotage because they might be motivated to do something, but emotionally their heart might not be in it, so they might have feelings of worthiness, okay, and those types of issues. And Taurus on the North Node is also sent here to establish the security and appreciate the value of material possessions, okay? This is someone who is put here to work hard for what they want to achieve, but they do not view it as being hard work because that's what they wanted to do. They want to know that they were able to create something from scratch in the material realm, okay? So it's very important that someone who has Taurus on the North Node is appreciating all of their physical surroundings and the comfort that this lifetime is providing for them, okay? It's very important to be tenacious, okay, in your dealings with everything. Don't give up so easily. Don't just say, oh, I don't feel like doing it, okay? Know that you can do it and you are able and more than worthy to receive everything that you've worked hard for, okay? So those are very beneficial aspects for Taurus North Node in their learning lesson here. Also, it's very important to look at the house that your Taurus North Node is in, any planets that are aspecting it, and that will show the area in which your Taurus North Node is going to be expressed. Now moving to Gemini North Node. Gemini North Node came into this lifetime to experience the importance of dealing with others on a personal level. They came here to deal with their internal need for freedom and accepting duality and contradictions in themselves and others. They might be a little weary of integrity, okay? That might express itself in telling half-truths, and there might be some restlessness associated with this personality, okay? There might be the importance of needing to learn when and how to slow down, especially verbally, okay? Because this is a sign that's very quick-witted and their mouth tends to move faster than their brain, and they can say things without fully thinking it out, okay? And there's also a need to let go of commitment issues here, okay? So someone with Gemini on the North Node is going to have Sagittarius on their South Node, and the importance of establishing personal connections is imperative in this lifetime, okay? You don't want to just go on independently for everything, okay? You want to make sure that you talk to others and converse with others and share ideas with others, okay? It's very important that you don't feel like others are restricting you or that you have to be someone else in front of anyone who you're dealing with, okay? There's always going to be duality. So a lot of times with Gemini on the North Node, there can be issues regarding their interpersonal relationships with other people. There might be a little bit of defensiveness. There might be a little bit coldness, okay, because someone with Gemini in the North Node is likely to pick apart everything that everyone is saying and become offended by an untruth that they thought existed but really didn't. So Gemini North Node is here to actually establish meaningful connections with others and to listen to what someone is saying, okay, not just hear them but actually listen to the words. They're here to realize that they can have relationships with others and still be their own independent individual, okay? They're here to see that everything can be a contradiction and to not take it so seriously if everything in their mind doesn't add up as a mathematical equation, okay? They're here to just let go a little bit and not overanalyze other people and situations, okay? They're here to just kind of relieve some of the restlessness that their minds naturally has, just to shut off for a little bit and just enjoy the moment instead of planning always for the next one or wondering why the previous moment had to happen, okay? So these are very important traits for the Gemini North Node to develop in their lifetime now. And it's also important to look at the house placement of where the Gemini North Node is placed, because this is going to show where those characteristics are going to play out. Now we're going to move on to Cancer North Node. The Cancer North Node came into this lifetime with wanting to know and understand the importance of attempting to control events, people, and things around them, okay? Someone with Cancer North Node is someone who wants to feel safe with others, okay? But they usually don't let their guard down, okay? So it's very important for someone with Cancer North Node to not be so defensive and react emotionally, because they might not know the full picture, but they are letting their emotions kind of get in the way of their better judgment. Someone with Cancer North Node is someone who is likely to repress their emotions, okay? And there might be a void when dealing with other people and family members, okay? They are someone who really is seeking out an audience or praise, okay? And also, they're subconsciously establishing the want to bring about more sensitivity into their experience, okay? Because this is someone who may be very familiar with hiding their emotions and repressing their feelings, and this is someone who might view showing emotions as being weak, okay? This might indicate someone who just always has to be in control. They have to be in control of everything, their emotions, their physical experiences, right? And sometimes it's okay to just let your emotions run amok, okay? You can have an outburst. It's okay. No one is going to get angry at you. So someone with Cancer on the North Node is likely to come off as a little bit cold, okay? Because they are someone that is feeling everything but finds it to be a weakness to be feeling everything, okay? So it is imperative that someone with Cancer on the North Node learns how to let their guard down, and not necessarily all the time, but they need to learn to establish that the people closest to them are not out to get them, okay? Because there can be a slight paranoia about Cancer North Node people who are viewing others as always trying to emotionally manipulate them, okay? So they have their defenses up all the time. So the soul of someone who has North Node in Cancer likely came here to experience sharing emotions with others and being more compassionate and kind of embracing the nurturing nature that they so innately already have, okay? So someone with Cancer on the North Node is beneficial to definitely look at the house placement to see how the characteristics of the North Node can be most easily expressed and noticed. Now we're going to move into Leo North Node, and if you have Leo on the North Node, you are going to have Aquarius on your South Node. So Someone coming here with their North Node in Leo wanted to learn the importance of breaking away from peer pressure and the need to impress others, okay? They need to have a creative outlet, and they kind of need to require experience over knowledge. They kind of need to get the ball rolling and actually move along with it instead of just talking about something and not really executing their plans. They need to develop their own will and assertion and ego, okay? And I'm not talking about ego in the negative space where everyone usually drops the ego into, right? I'm talking about the ego. They need to establish their own sense of identity, and they need to kind of break away from being associated with their peers and their friends or whatever organization or establishment that they might be currently affiliated with, right? They are someone that they need to just pave their own way and show that they can have that endurance to actually create what they're speaking about rather than just speaking about it, okay? Because they are someone who came here to kind of be a beacon of light, and they do enjoy social settings, but this is someone who might either tend to shy away from any type of socialism, or someone who is just overly a showboat in front of others, okay? There needs to be a balance kind of restored to this person in dealing with relations with others. They are someone who has a natural zest for life, and they always want to have a good time. So it'd be very important for someone with Leo on the North Node to be in a field or profession, or at least have enough leisure time that they can experience fully everything that they chose to experience here in this lifetime. They are someone who wants to be hands-on, and they need that visceral type of reaction in their body and in their psyche, okay? They are someone that wants to explore physically, and they need to explore physically, and they need to have a good time while doing it. So this is someone who needs an expressive creative outlet, and these are qualities that would be very beneficial for someone with Leo on the North Node to embrace. And it's also important to look at the sign of the house that the Leo North Node is in and see how and where these traits will be expressed. Someone with Virgo on the North Node is someone that came into this experience wanting to understand the importance of compassion, taking risks, helping others, and not allowing victim consciousness to infiltrate their psyche. There is someone that chose to come into this lifetime to learn how to focus and how to embody humility in the face of others, okay? This is someone who might seem very organized or rigid, or there might be a little bit of OCD in that area, okay? They are someone who kind of just needs to find more logical ways of expressing their feelings, okay? They are someone who needs to realize that they can be compassionate and they don't have to let their emotions have their way with them if they are showing a sense of concern, okay? There's someone who is oftentimes afraid of expressing emotions, or they're not very good with emotions. This is someone who needs to embrace a more logical way of feeling and kind of blending the feeling and the thoughts together. Okay? They are someone who has to learn when to walk away without remaining being a victim, okay? There's a tendency to just up and leave out of nowhere, but in the moment when someone with Virgo on the North Node felt disrespected, that was the optimum thing to do at that time, and it worked for them, okay? So this is someone who kind of just may have a tendency to up and leave different type of circumstances, okay? And this is someone who is not going to be walked over, okay? They would rather be by themselves than deal with someone who is going to use them or betray them in some way. So very important for those with Virgo in the North Node to actually discern if they are really being used by someone else or manipulated by someone else, rather than if that's only going on in their mind, okay? They also would benefit from learning to help others, okay, in the material realm, okay? They might be someone who wants to put in more work, showing that they are conscious of the importance of the health of others, especially physical and mental health of others, okay? They are someone who actually does care about those things, but just might not know the best way of expressing it, okay? So it's very important to also look at the north node of Virgo, see what house the north node of Virgo falls in, so you can see where that is going to be expressed. So the north node in Libra is someone that came into this physical experience to understand the importance of sharing, seeing through another's eyes, changing impulsiveness, selfishness, and wanting to be the center of attention at all times, okay? They came here to be supportive of others, which actually in turn restores their own confidence, okay? They are here to be more rational and even tempered, and they are here to learn how to make a balanced and calculated decision instead of always reacting on a whim, okay? This person here with the Libra North Node is someone that came into wanting experience this lifetime with others, okay? Be it through a partner or a best friend or a business partner. Someone with the North Node in Libra is always going to feel better when they are around others. The other person kind of provides balance for them, okay? And they need to establish that they actually want to be in close proximity with others, because they might feel that they don't really want that, but that's exactly what they're yearning for on the inside, okay? So it's best for someone with Libra on the North Node to actually acknowledge that they do want to receive from others, that they do want to accept love from others, that they do want to expand companionship with another, okay? This is someone who is along for the ride, and they'll go anywhere as long as they have others around them who are on the same journey, okay? Someone with Libra on the North Node also wants to be giving and receiving. They like that harmonious balance between giving and receiving, so it's important not to give too much from someone else. It's important also to receive whatever blessings are coming your way graciously instead of refusing to accept them, okay? So there's a need for that give and take seesaw type of thing with Libra on the North Node. And Libra on the North Node is going to express itself best through the traits and characteristics of the house that Libra North Node falls in. So it's very important to look at that house to see where this is just naturally going to come out. Now, Scorpio on the North Node is someone who chose to came into this experience to learn the importance of self-discipline, accepting support from others, letting go of possessiveness, letting go of stubbornness, and embracing change, okay? So these characteristics are very, very alien to someone that has North Node in Scorpio, all right? They need to eliminate excess indulgence and release attachments to outcomes, okay? They are someone who is going to need to allow the freedom of money to enter their life, okay? They are someone that is going to realize that it's okay to accept every blessing that the universe has in store for you. They are someone who has to learn a little bit of emotional control, okay? Instead of just physically reacting to everything, they want to sort of establish that emotional harmony within themselves, that they are able to have a deep feeling without expressing it so erratically, perhaps in the moment that that feeling comes up, okay? They're someone that needs to learn how to exercise caution when dealing in the realm of emotions with others, okay? They are someone who also needs to allow others to help and support them. There might be a rigidness in terms of accepting offers from other people, but in order to be emotionally fulfilled, when one receives a gift, be it emotional or physical, they need to receive it, or else they might end up becoming depleted because they are not receiving that soul nourishment that they kind of intuitively understand but might not be able to wrap their mind around. So someone with Scorpio on the North Node is here to just release from attachment to outcomes. They're here to release from strong emotions, okay? They're here to just release excess, okay? They're here to sort of emotionally purge everything that's no longer serving them, okay? And they're here to realize that it's okay to learn how to let go and not hold on to something, especially if that thing that they're holding on to is bringing them unwanted emotional reactions such as pain or jealousy or fear or resentment or anything like that, okay? You're here to just let that all go, and no matter what is going on in their experience, they're here to actually begin anew with every day. They're here to kind of look at life as a blank slate, like, you know, they went through that yesterday, they witnessed that yesterday, they experienced that yesterday, but what is today going to bring? Something entirely different. They're here to kind of shed the old and embrace the new, especially in the emotional realm. So Scorpio on the North Node, it is very important to look at what house your North Node is in your birth chart so that you can see how and where these traits are going to express themselves. So someone with Capricorn on the North Node is going to have Cancer on their South Node. And Capricorn North Node individuals came here with wanting to learn the importance of establishing goals, responsibility. They want to be responsible for their own success and actually show that they can achieve whatever they put their mind to. They are here to let go of moodiness and insecurity, and they're here to embrace the power of their self and their own physical execution. They're here to become more confident and powerful and know that whatever work that they're doing in the material realm is always going to bear fruit for them, okay? They also came here to learn how to take charge of situations, okay? They're here to really step up and go to bat, so to speak. They're here to say, listen, yes, I'm doing this, what are you doing, right? Like, they're here to kind of exert that authoritative position, okay? They're here to not let anyone walk over them. They're here to establish respect for themselves, okay? So this is someone who, the perfect quote for them would be, I don't care if you like me as long as you respect me. I'm sure you've heard that quote or like different versions of it, but that's the closest I kind of got to. So that is essentially what someone with Capricorn North Node is here to experience, okay? They're also here to let go of their fear of rejection, and they're here to also let go of emotional sensitivity, because a lot of times someone with Capricorn on the North Node can have an emotional overreaction to something that is said to them, and they might become a little bit cold afterward because they're not really sure how to respond to that, so they just react with that emotional coldness. They kind of turn off emotions. So they're here to also use logic when dealing with emotions, and not everything is going to be meant towards them in a mean-spirited way, okay? They're also here to release family karma, and I say family with air quotes around it because family can mean anything depending on the individual receiving the word family, right? So Capricorn North Node is here to release quote-unquote family karma and the feeling of that they are responsible for everyone else, okay? Because their responsibility, in essence, if they're not taking adequate care of themselves, how are they even going to be helpful to anyone else, okay? So they have to just kind of learn to see what's growing in their own yard before tending to someone else's yard, okay? And that is a very big thing that someone with Capricorn on the North Node should potentially take note of, okay, to better their experience. And Capricorn on the North Node is very important to look at what house that this North Node falls into, because that is going to show the area in which and how these traits are going to be expressed. Someone with Aquarius on their North Node is an individual who step forth into this lifetime to experience the importance of working in a group and pursuing humanitarian aspects, okay? They're here to let go of drama and dramatic tendencies. They're here to establish working with others, and they're here to let go of fear-based reactions, okay? They're here to let go of willfulness, and they're here to release that quote-unquote me ego, okay, and concentrate on quote-unquote we, okay? They're here to learn humility and to be more humble and to reduce their arrogant tendencies, okay? Because they tend to be focused for the most part on what's going on in their inner realm, and there's a deep longing to actually want to be of service to others in a humanitarian pursuit, but they're just uncertain many times of knowing how to handle that and what to do about it. So someone with Aquarius on the North Node is someone who came here to experience the joy of helping others, as cheesy as that may sound, because they're here to learn that everything is all connected, and that when they are helping an other, they are essentially also helping themselves. So that's in essence much of the reason why someone with Aquarius North Node came here. And they're also here to learn how to be harmonious in a group setting rather than always being the leader or always being the boss. They're here to actually listen to what others are saying instead of just hearing it, right? They're here to listen. They're here to make evaluations based upon information that is given to them. They're here not to make snap judgments. They're here to actually put themselves in another's shoes and to see situations from all sides, okay? They're here to look at the bigger picture. They're here to be self-confident within their own inner realm, but they're also here at large to make a difference in consciousness as a whole, okay? So they're really here to expand their awareness and their humanitarian spirit with, in essence, the collective, okay? They're here to make their impression that way. They're here to learn that they can benefit others, which is also benefiting them, and kind of that balance that goes in between giving and receiving, okay? And they're here to turn a me mentality into a we mentality, which is going from a dictator like persona to more of that camaraderie type of ideal with someone else, okay? They're here to learn the value of other people, interacting with them in their experience and enjoying that. And the house placement of the Aquarius North Node is going to show how these traits are going to express themselves, and definitely take a look at that. Now we're going to move along into Pisces North Node, and if you have Pisces on the North Node, then your South Node is going to be Virgo. So again, with all the signs, it's always the opposite, okay? So someone with Pisces in the North Node came here to experience the lesson and importance of trusting the divine, being more optimistic, less judgmental, and letting go of anxiety and minute details. They're here essentially to trust, okay? They're here to let go of perfectionism and realizing that once you let go, everything falls into place more perfectly than you ever could have dreamed of anyway, okay? They need to embrace their spiritual nature, because being analytical and logical is most likely familiar to them. Even though spirituality may call to them and they may essentially know that they do have spiritual gifts, it might be hard to embrace them because their logical mind is saying, but this isn't logical, so how can it be real? So it's very important for someone with Pisces on the North Node to embrace spiritual experiences and incorporate them into their reality, okay? They're here to just let go of how things should be and just let them be, okay? They are here to emotionally support others, okay, without attempting to try to fix them. And the difference with that is not everyone that one comes across is going to want help, okay? They just might want to be heard. And this is very important, that Pisces North Node learns to decipher the difference between someone who actually wants to receive help and someone who is just there to vent, essentially. Okay, so it's very important that someone with Pisces on the North Node doesn't overly extend their kindness and compassion to someone. They have to learn discernment of knowing, is this person really seeking out my help, or are they just speaking just to speak? Okay, so Pisces on the North Node, it's very important to trust your divine intuitive responses and reactions, okay, rather than your logical mind, because you're most likely very used to utilizing your logical mind when sometimes things just cannot be explained. So Pisces on the North Node, it's best to look at what house that your Pisces North Node falls into, because that is going to show where and how these traits are going to express themselves. So someone with Sagittarius on their North Node came into this lifetime with wanting to learn the experience of the importance of intuition, higher consciousness. They are here to establish freedom from others' viewpoints. They're here to be more mystical rather than logical. And they are here to retreat from intentional deception and intentional manipulation. Okay, so someone with Sagittarius on their North Node is someone who might want to rebel against things that are taught to them. Okay, they want to formulate their own conclusions, and they want to formulate their own conclusions through experience. Okay, they might be someone who can tend to be stuck a little bit more in their mind, even though they have this basic yearning for expansion and travel beyond the planes of existence that are commonly known to them. They might have a little bit of an issue making the first move in that area. They tend to think more with logic rather than intuition and gut instincts, and this is why a lot of times those with Sagittarius on the North Node tend to mentally psych themselves out right before they're about to face something new or something that might be potentially challenging their old belief systems. They might feel the need to break free from a mental construct or a box of kind of what was put upon them by someone else or an organization or a mindset of belief. Okay, someone with Sagittarius North Node is here to actually pioneer through their will and their action and their determination to find other ways of doing things that are less commonly known. Okay, they're here to trailblaze into new territories, especially in regards to higher consciousness and learning, and always kind of being in that soup, okay, that soup of information and swimming through it. They're someone who is very exuberant, and they tend to have a following, okay, or even if they have not rectified that within themselves, they are secretly longing to have a following. They are secretly wanting to be sort of like a light bearer to others, and it is really important for someone with Sagittarius on the North Node to not use their linguistic skills for manipulation of others. Okay, they're here to actually gain the knowledge that they seek and then let others kind of be the judge for themselves. Okay, they're here to be somewhat of a guru, and the characteristic of a good guru is someone who is kind of leading by example, but they also know that each quote-unquote student is also here to formulate their own path, and they are simply a guide. They are not here to actually instill their values and belief systems onto others. Okay, so someone with Sagittarius on the North Node is definitely here for a higher consciousness learning experience, and also sharing that with others and sharing what information that they have along those genres with other people. And with Sagittarius North Node, it is important to look at the house placement, because this is going to tell you how this energy of the Sagittarius North Node is going to express itself. And here we have all of the North nodes, maybe not in chronological order or whatever, but we went through all of the North nodes, gave a brief explanation, and that was today's esoteric chit chat. I am Oculus, the alien next door. We will chit chat again soon, and as always, peace, good vibes, and namaste. Blessed, because you are.